Horror movies often captivate us with their chilling narratives and terrifying characters, but what makes these films even more unsettling is knowing that many of them are inspired by real-life events. From haunted houses to serial killers, the truth behind these famous horror movies adds an extra layer of fear and fascination. In this video, we explore the true stories that inspired some of the most iconic horror films. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The 1974 cult classic, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, was inspired by the real-life crimes of Ed Gein, a notorious murderer and body snatcher from Wisconsin. Gein's gruesome acts, including exhuming corpses and creating macabre artifacts from human remains, shocked the nation. Although Gein's body count was not as high as depicted in the film, his disturbing activities and the nightmarish items found in his home, such as lampshades and furniture made of skin and bones, served as the chilling foundation for the character of Leatherface and his twisted family. This blend of fact and fiction created a horror icon and set a new standard for the genre, leaving audiences terrified by the notion that such horrors could stem from real-life events. Psycho. Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, a groundbreaking psychological thriller, was inspired by the real-life crimes of Ed Gein, a notorious murderer and grave robber. Gein's troubled relationship with his domineering mother and his penchant for creating macabre items from exhumed corpses provided the chilling basis for the character of Norman Bates. Bates, like Gein, lived in isolation and developed a disturbing split personality, channeling his obsession with his mother into murderous tendencies. This eerie connection between Gein's real-life horrors and the fictional narrative of Psycho amplified the film's unsettling atmosphere, making it a seminal work in the horror genre that continues to haunt audiences. The Exorcist. The Exorcist, based on William Peter Blatty's novel, was inspired by the real-life exorcism of a young boy known by the pseudonym Roland Doe in 1949. The boy exhibited disturbing behaviors, including violent outbursts and speaking in tongues, which led his family to seek help from the Catholic Church. Priests conducted a series of exorcisms over several weeks, documenting harrowing accounts of demonic possession and supernatural phenomena. These chilling events provided a terrifying foundation for the film, which tells the story of a young girl possessed by a malevolent entity. The realistic portrayal of exorcism rituals and the intense psychological and physical torment depicted in The Exorcist have cemented its status as one of the most iconic and unsettling horror movies of all time. The Amityville Horror. The Amityville Horror is based on the alleged paranormal experiences of the Lutz family, who moved into a house in Amityville, New York, where Ronald Defeo Jr. had brutally murdered his family a year earlier. Shortly after moving in, the Lutzes reported a series of terrifying events, including strange noises, foul odors, and physical assaults by unseen forces. Their claims of ghostly encounters and demonic presences captivated the public's imagination and were documented in Jay Anson's book, which became the basis for the 1979 film. Despite controversy and skepticism over the veracity of the Lutz's story, the Amityville Horror remains one of the most famous haunted house tales, blending real-life tragedy with supernatural horror to create a chilling narrative that has endured in popular culture. A Nightmare on Elm Street. Wes Craven's A Nightmare on Elm Street was inspired by real-life accounts of sudden unexplained nocturnal death syndrome, a mysterious condition that affected young, healthy Southeast Asian refugees in the 1980s. Victims experienced terrifying nightmares and refused to sleep, fearing they would die if they did. These inexplicable deaths, occurring during sleep, struck a chord with Craven and led to the creation of Freddy Krueger, the dream-stalking killer who attacks his victims in their nightmares. The unsettling true stories behind these deaths added a layer of eerie authenticity to the film, transforming A Nightmare on Elm Street into a horror classic that exploits the primal fear of what lurks in our dreams. The Conjuring. The Conjuring is based on the real-life experiences of paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren and their investigation of the Perron family's haunted farmhouse in Rhode Island during the 1970s. The Perron family reported numerous disturbing incidents, including strange noises, ghostly apparitions, and violent physical attacks by unseen forces. The Warrens documented their experiences and identified the malevolent spirit of Bathsheba Sherman, a supposed witch, as the primary source of the haunting. The terrifying events witnessed by the Perrons and the Warrens provided the foundation for the film, blending documented paranormal activity with cinematic storytelling. This combination of real-life horror and supernatural elements made The Conjuring a standout in the genre, captivating audiences with its chilling authenticity. The Haunting in Connecticut. The Haunting in Connecticut is based on the real-life experiences of the Snedeker family, who moved into a former funeral home in Salvington, Connecticut during the 1980s. The family soon began experiencing disturbing phenomena, including apparitions, strange odors, and violent attacks. Carmen Snedeker, the mother, claimed to have been physically assaulted by unseen entities, and her son exhibited alarming behavioral changes. Paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren were brought in and concluded that the house was infested with demonic spirits, likely due to its history as a funeral home. The film dramatizes these events, weaving a narrative of supernatural terror that reflects the Snedeker family's harrowing ordeal and the dark legacy of their home. Child's Play. The concept for Child's Play was inspired by the eerie story of Robert the Doll, a seemingly innocuous toy that allegedly harbored a malevolent spirit. Owned by painter Robert Eugene Otto in the early 20th century, the doll was said to move on its own, cause mischief, and even speak. Otto's family and visitors reported unsettling incidents, attributing them to the doll, which Otto himself claimed was alive and malevolent. This real-life tale of a cursed doll sparked the imagination of Child's Play creator Don Mancini, leading to the creation of Chucky, the infamous doll possessed by the soul of a serial killer. The blending of this creepy folklore with a modern horror narrative turned Chucky into an enduring horror icon, instilling fear into the hearts of audiences. The Silence of the Lambs. While The Silence of the Lambs is a work of fiction, it draws inspiration from several real-life serial killers. The character of Hannibal Lecter was partly influenced by Alfredo Bali Trevino, a Mexican physician and murderer whom author Thomas Harris interviewed while working on another book. Buffalo Bill, another central character, is a composite of infamous killers such as Ed Gein, Ted Bundy, and Gary Heidnik. Jane's practice of skinning his victims, Bundy's method of luring women, and Heidnick's captivity of women in his basement all contributed to the creation of Buffalo Bill. These true stories provided a terrifying foundation for the film's plot, making The Silence of the Lambs a chilling exploration of the darkest aspects of human nature. The Entity. The Entity was inspired by the real-life experiences of Doris Bither, a woman who claimed to have been repeatedly assaulted by invisible entities in her home during the 1970s. Bither reported experiencing physical attacks and other paranormal phenomena, which led her to seek help from paranormal investigators Barry Taff and Carrie Gaynor. The investigators documented the events and witnessed unexplained occurrences, such as objects moving on their own and mysterious lights appearing. The chilling account of Bither's torment, marked by violent and sexual assaults by unseen forces, provided the basis for the film. The Entity dramatizes these horrifying experiences, blending supernatural terror with the psychological trauma of its protagonist, thus creating a deeply unsettling narrative rooted in real-life claims. That's all for today's video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more spine-chilling stories and updates.